Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Travis Told You, the first Travis Told You of the new year of 2024. It is good to be back. Sorry, it has been a quick, it's been a long minute. I think, I don't know, maybe since November, October. Oh boy, I can't remember the last time I did one. It's been a minute, but holidays was very busy. I'm gonna get in that, talking about some sort of scheduling conflicts and whatnot. But yes, thank you very much for tuning in. If you are, whether you're video, audio, live, 10 weeks later, who knows? I don't know. I don't have a plan for Travis Told You. We have, and luckily, a big thank you. I guess like a minor spoiler that we have our survey and town hall coming up. Majority of the people, I like to give you the deets as far as what's going on here in the GeekVerse world, right? Let me pull up the survey. I was pretty happy with it. So what I can say is Travis Told You isn't going anywhere. And even somebody said if I can, even if you do this monthly, that'd be great. But where was the percentage here? Let's see, 63% voted the keep it, and then I guess it's listens to it every week, and then 9% 2 to 3 of the month, then 9% depends on the topic, and then 18% rarely or not at all. So that's that nice, that 18% of GeekVerse listener fan base, that's the one that hates me. Go, man, I already hear Travis talk enough, I don't need to, but I'll take that 63%, and I'll take even the other 9, then the 18. We're up there in the high 80s. So that's where it's this isn't going away. I just don't have a plan with it yet. I don't have what's going to be happening. Andrew Haley, hey, nice to see you. Nice Darth Vader thumbnail you got all going on there. Hey, GeekVerse, what is your thoughts of the copyright DC characters 9 years from now being in public domain? Hunter Iggy, I will get to that question in 5 minutes, so stay tuned, or you can check out the replay. But I will just talk about some overalls, and then we'll get in that, because that did come up, so we can talk about that a little bit. And we're going to talk about Batman first anyway, so I'll probably lump it in with that. So Travis Told You, it's not going anywhere, and I'll reiterate that on the town hall. It's just that I don't even know, I definitely can't do weekly right now. I think once, and we're going to get into the movie thing, there's two sections here. I'll get into Adrenochome for a second, but I'll get into here where once Adrenochome is done, I will have more time. So that's why I'm kind of waiting. But that's why I'd say until March-ish, I don't see this coming back weekly. I think there might be a time, especially at the end of February when Halo comes back, I won't be on those reviews, and Last Airbender live action. There's a lot of reviews and content I'm not going to be on. So that's where, if I usually have a cast off, that's when I like to replace okay, boom, I'm not casting here, I'll do here. That's why lots of times if there's I'm on Marvel Alliance, I'm going to step back from GeekVerse just for time with, right? So right now, it's definitely not going to be weekly. I'd love it to be bi-weekly, but I guess I can at least promise once a month. But I feel like it's going to happen because I got this. I feel like next week I'll be back because I'll do Oscar predictions. I would love to, I know S-Bubs might be out there listening to this, I would love to before try and do a Royal Rumbles prediction and get S-Bubs and David on there. I've not talked to them at all, so this is the first they're hearing about, but it's just the time. I don't even know if I have the time. I'd like to do that, and I might do the watch along, so right now, it's just busy with that. There's lots of other casts being recorded in the beginning of the year, and just life stuff in general, so we'll see, but that's the plan, is once a month for sure up until maybe spring, and then it might blossom back to weekly. It might be bi-weekly. And like I said, I think the next few weeks you'll hear from me, because I think I would do a Travis Told You for the Oscars, and I would do one probably for the Royal Rumble or somewhere around then. So it just kind of depends when I can sneak in and sneak out. But I appreciate people that did vote saying, hey, yeah, keep doing this. I like doing this. And most people even said don't change the format. So I appreciate that. There's a little add this, but so we'll see. Lots to talk about at the town hall, so we'll do that. But I'm happy to be back. I think for the next Travis Told You to time with the Oscars, I know we're going to do an Oscar pool at Discord. So I don't know. I'll have to ask the patrons and stuff. I'd wonder if we could do an Oscar watch along or something. I don't know what people, if they watch it with groups or whatnot. We'll see. But we're gonna do lots of Oscar content, more probably with the patrons in the Discord. So join one of those two. Speaking of Oscars, look at the feed right now, because we've done the MCU Golden Geeks, and what happens is right now, if you are not a Patreon members, you get it all ad-free, all 2-hour plus episode podcast right there, live at this very moment. If you are somebody that's not paying, that's absolutely fine. We get it. We would like if you have a little extra change to support us, because things like, and I've talked about it before, that's why, like, with CPMs and ad rates down, stuff like that, that's why it's harder to justify doing Travis every week. Travis told you, or even spin-off shows and spin-off news and stuff. We still do them, but it's been tougher, especially these months. People know, we've talked about this before, where like CPMs, ad rates, revenues, they're just like, they fucking just crash in January. And it's a great time because we do that. We pay for our small business taxes. We pay for StreamYard. We pay for our own small business personal ones. What's the other one? There's another one we pay for too. Our small business license. So it's like we just get hit so hard. And luckily we're all fine. I'm not sitting here with a cup saying, oh, please. But no, if you like the stuff we do and you want more of it, that's the best way to get it. Whether it is the content, there's exclusive episodes on there on the Patreon feed, or just to produce more of it, that's the best way. But if not, you'll be getting the MCU Golden Geeks and all the other Golden Geeks sparsed out like last year. So this MCU episode spaced into 4 episodes. Every week you'll get 2 categories. But if you, for DCU, for the overall Golden Geeks, I don't want that, head over to Patreon, because you'll be getting that the day of. So, and yeah, voting's going to start very soon on those. We'll let them play out for a couple weeks, but then the patrons will get to vote. And that's why you get to join Patreon and go there. You get to pick all the winners for MCU, DCU, and the overall Golden Geeks. It's a fun time. People, I think this is some of the, it's lower as far as, like we said, like the retention and ad revenue and even people being busy, but this is some of my favorite casts, and I feel like some of everyone's favorite casts, like whether it's a draft or Golden Geeks. It's just a fun time. So yeah, there's not much news popping off. We actually have some stuff to talk about tonight, but if you want to get to it, some entertaining casts, they're all there. They're still coming, so look out for that. What else is there? Oh, okay, so patrons know this if you listen. There you go. I haven't officially announced this, but I'm going to do this now just to be safe, because it's looking good, but and there will be a cutout of this, but we have to delay Adrenochrome, not by much. I'm not going to, this is what I'm going to say, I'm not going to publicly date it yet. I will say what I'm aiming for is, what is that official day? I'm not going to announce, I'm just going to announce that it's delayed, but it will be soon, just because I'll tell you what happened. It was kind of a wild time. So my personal date, I'm trying to aim for the 16th. So that's the Friday after the Super Bowl. If you don't know, Adrenochrome is our very first movie being made. We're in post-production. I am 95% done. There's just literally 2 things we have to reshoot that are just very minor, that were just like, literally one was like, that's the wrong angle. Like it's a left arm versus right arm thing. And then when I edit it back together. And then the other thing was just the editing got delayed, where I had 10 or 9 days off for Christmas, and what happened was my family stayed a little longer, so Christmas and just activities family went further, which was fine, but I had time allotted for, these are days I'm going to edit. Family stayed, and then for right after New Year's Eve, I had those next 3 days off, and that's where another time I was going to edit. I got deadly, like, which sick was it? Oh, that was the cold sick and like a fever. I was fucking just freezing, and then finally it was like, okay, I got better, and there was this clear night, and then I got like the stomach bug for 2 nights. So literally because of those few things, and then my kids got sick, so I still got some stuff done, but not as much as I wanted to, and not as much as like I want it to be. Like, no movie's perfect, and this is definitely not perfect, but I want it to be smooth sailing. I'm happy with, like, this is the best we can achieve with our budget, our gear, our time, and we're very close. It's still happening. If people don't know, it's our film, and we're going to be putting in festivals next year, but we can't release it publicly, like, for rent forever. We can't do a public screening if we want to join certain festivals. So what's going to happen is, and I think this works for most of the rules for festivals, where we're going to do a 4-day rental system. I think it's going to be on Patreon, but we're still going to play with that. It's going to be like a Friday to a Monday. You can rent it, have it as long for that, and then after that, it will be gone. It'll be taken away, just because in order to put it into festivals, it can't be streaming other places. But we know lots of people have been asking, when can we see it? When can we see it? And I don't know if we'll do this with every single film, but with people that have supported us. And as we said before, patrons, ad revenue as well, but patrons especially, like, this film happened because of you. These podcasts and that film, it's crowd-funded, it's fan-funded, it's listener-funded. You guys literally helped pay for the camera that we use, So that's the thing where we want you to get the first crack at it and be able to rent it and take a look at it. And then in a year from now or so, it will be available for everyone. Maybe you don't have the money, maybe you want to wait, and there'll be like a rental option and a buy option. The buy option, we'll roll it out, but that's going to have like commentary tracks, bloopers, a bunch of things. So it'll be a little extra, but it'll be worth it. So that's what I'll say right now, that it is officially delayed. I'm hoping for February 16th, but I don't want to date it yet. It's going to be Q1. I'm very close. I just want to run through. I also want to sit down with Kirkland and Taylor and watch it through the whole time. So that's why there will be a cutout. I will say that it's, coming soon. It's just, I want to hit that date, and I really did think, and I absolutely think that if I had that time in my break, it would happen. But I was just so pissed, especially the second time when I got the flu. The fever, it sucked, but I was like, okay, I'm done. But if I can do like this Tuesday and Wednesday, that's 2 days that I have mapped out. Here we go. And I was at work, but still was like, okay, work, everything. And I can't remember why. I had those 2 nights. I think it was just people were away in GeekVerse, so we weren't podcasting. I was like, okay, these 2 nights I can make it for and stay up late. I've had a couple late nights already, but yeah, and there's still like one song I'm trying to narrow down as far as like, do I want to use it with this? There's a song I want to use, but it's just like, is it worth the time and effort to do it? It's a great song, but it's just like there's certain things with it and everything. So, there's still a few kinks to work out, but it's gonna happen. So don't get too disappointed, because I know we even got that a couple of times on the survey. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see the movie, and I was like, oh no, like it might delay it. But again, it's gonna be Q1. It's gonna be sooner than you think. Like not sooner than you think actually, because we delayed it and I gave you kind of a date, but that's the working idea. Just because like I said, we want it to be as good as possible. I don't want to rush it to hit a date, because like it's our movie and that's our date. Like there's no, like that's the nice thing of us controlling this, going to festivals next year. If we release it ourselves, like we get to control the release of this. So I don't want to be rushed. And if for some reason it happens to be done, great. But that's why I'm kind of waiting till after this weekend, because I have a few more finishing touches. And but yeah, I want it to be good, because yeah. Oh, and there was a software system too, which is our software system error problem, which was just a pain. It was one of those things where I'm using Final Cut Pro and then another software, and literally nowhere on their website, both of them tell you what the issue is. You just got to find it on like the 50th comment on Reddit, and they go, oh, this works. So it worked, but there was a time where it was going to be like uber delayed. Oh, hang on. My water's way over there. There was a time where it was going to be delayed like months and months, because I was like, I'm going to have to start a bunch of this over. Not refilming, luckily, but just editing. But it was good. I saved something right away. It was just a weird technology's great, and then it can just have this big bug. So that's the update right now. Adrenochome is delayed right now, tentatively to February. Once that's locked down, the next time I announce a date, it's going to be when I have it completely all rendered, done, shown Taylor and Kirkland. And that's what I thought was going to happen at this point. It was going to be, okay, I'll finish in December, show it to them, we'll be done and go. But just holiday, family, sickness, tech stuff, it all happened like within those 2 weeks. And it was such a pain in the ass. But it's still all going good, still going to be seen. And yeah, we're also, I think another one of those days too coming up. The reason I won't be editing is because we're going to be filming. We're working on our, sounds weird, but we're working on a third film. I think we've announced that. Yeah, we've announced we have a third film. Yeah, our second film, we're about to be done. The filming of that, we're just waiting for the seasons to change, because the snowing a lot here, so we have to film a few things that are not snow. And then the third film, yeah, I'm very excited, because we've not even shared anything details, and we're not going to for a while. That one we're going to sit on, because it's at least 2 years away now, because that's the plan, is to release these in the next, film 1 this year, film 2 next year, film 3 the other year. So yeah, let's talk about some of this stuff. I'm going to take a drink of water. Glorious water, the best drink in the world. But all right, The Batman Part 2. So we're going to be talking about the filming delays, possibly. I don't know. It's all kind of up in the air, right? But Hunter Iggy asks, hey, GeekVerse, what are your thoughts on the copyright of the DC characters 9 years from now being in public domain? Not published domain, public domain. Probably just a typo. I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to do things with that come that time, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people that maybe wrote some treatments in middle school that would love to get a crack at that. Anyway, so what does that mean? Not really. So people can, if people don't know, they can make with some of these old things now that never happens, right? Like this happened recently a couple of years ago with Freddy Krueger, where it's like the rights went back to Wes Craven. I think stuff that's newly made in IP, that doesn't happen anymore. So to be clear, I can't remember what year for Superman, but it's the first iteration with Superman, which I don't even think has the S on his chest, or if it does, it's a different variation. He's not called the Man of Steel. Same with Batman. Like you can't call him the Caped Crusader. You can't use the bat because if you look at the Batman's logo on the very first issue in the 1939 one, it is like a bat, but it's like the bats and it's like like it's kind of missing the head. Travis Troops assemble. Oh man, Maddie, I forgot about the Travis Troops. Man, Gauntlet. I miss Gauntlet so much. You know, that's like I think now, luckily, with us making movies, that creative muscles being stretched, but I missed it for so long. I still miss it. It was a good time, and one day I hope to bring it back, even for just a little run here and there. But so it is just the first iteration of those characters. Like with Batman, you can't use Alfred, you can't use Robin, you can't use certain villains, you can't use like anything past that certain point. It's literally just the first appearance, but it still has like the cape and cowl. He's got the white eyes, he's got the belt buckle. He has a logo. It's not the full-on bat, but it like looks close enough and it looks cool. He has what I really love. Scott Snyder did like, and Greg Capullo did like a play on it in New 52 when they brought him back, like the purple gloves. I really like that. I like the aesthetic of that Batman. Of course, it's not perfect for what you'd get in live action stuff, but so what does it mean and how could DC retain the rights to their characters? They have the rights to their characters. They're not losing them. It's just there's certain iterations that people can now use, like Steamboat Willie, right? That's the black and white Mickey Mouse specifically on the boat, because a lot of people made the black and white Mickey that had the red shorts. Nuh-uh, that's not the right Mickey, and people either took that stuff down or they're going to get sued. So it's not going to affect anything other than technically anybody in the world could make a Batman movie in 11 years, right? So like I think other people, independent people, fan films, it's like now before you'd have to do this is a fan film and blah, 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 blah. It's not associated with DC. You could make these projects and now make money off them as long as you go within the guidelines. So with whatever was Batman 1939, right? You know, no Alfred, Robin. Let's say there's a list of 20 things you can't do. As long as you don't do them, you can still make a Batman project and sell tickets. You could people have joked about, but you could put Batman in a Marvel movie, right? As long as it fills in with those, you know, criteria. Don't want that. I think it'd be great if they put him in like a what if episode. Like do that. Like Superman, Wonder Woman, Joker. Those would be fun ideas. But do I think any major studio is going to do that? I don't think a major one. I don't think like Universal, Paramount, anything like that. Maybe Marvel, you could do like a what if. Like that's what I mean, like just an animated show. But do I think a major one? No. Do I think other ones, like smaller studios, maybe try to make a name for themselves, or even just some studios? Yeah, maybe. Like maybe someone at A24 has this pitch of what they're gonna do with the Batman, right? And there's still some, like we have that like the real life Joker coming out or something like that. So there's already things you can do with it, and if it's like parody. So I know people are like, oh my god, this is not the end, but it's just like we're gonna get so much bad adaptions. Who knows? But this is what I will say. And if I was somebody that was going to do this in 11 years, what I would want is I would actually want to make a Batman horror film in a sense, but not in, and I'm not saying everybody has to, I'm saying what I would want to do, not in the sense of, you know, poo, blood, and honey. I don't want Batman, blood, honey. Just the sense of like, we've gotten a little bit in the Nolan ones. We got the most of the Matt Reeves stuff. Think about doing like a Batman set in the Arkham Asylum. Now, you can't use Arkham Asylum. You can't use those characters. But if you create your own villains, your own weirdos, your own jail, give it that vibe, enough the fans will pick up and know, oh, you could call it AA prison, whatever it is, right? Like you can just like fudge the numbers. That's what I would like to see, is like grounded, realistic. Like you could go big, and maybe someone will. And let's say a Paramount wants to make a big blockbuster, just Batman 1939 one, sure. But what I'd say is go very personal. And even though that era is a bit more of a funny, like not funny, but it's the golden age Batman, lighthearted, like you don't have to do that if you're trying to make it darker, but just go personal routes, do the bare minimums. Like this is the time where that's how you're going to stand out. Or you got to do stuff like, the fan film, like God, what is the oh geez, I've forgotten it. It's the Batman versus Predator one. Damn it, I can't remember, but you got to do something like that. And that's where you could get that, right? Like someone's bringing up Sherlock Holmes. So you either got to go balls to the walls out there like a Pooh Blood Honey, or do something personal. And that's what I would like for me is a Batman in a darker horror setting, but not a Batman Blood and Honey or Batman Blood and Gotham. You know, like do some things that studios wouldn't do with it because they can't, because they have a dollar amount to hit, right? They don't want to scare the families away. That's how you do. I think like it's tough because we got Spider-Man Lois last year, which was awful. I think for multiple reasons and for real life reasons, right? But they, you know, they set out to try and tell a personal story, but to me, it was just like, at times it was just trying to be a studio carbon copy, but with lower budget. Obviously, if you have a mega budget, sure, go and do that. If you're some billionaire who wants to make a Batman movie, sure, go and do that. But and there's certain things like I don't know if the Batarang you can use. I don't know even with the Batmobile. That's stuff that could come later. But yeah, I think that's what I would think that people should do is some more personal stuff that's going to really resonate. I'm not saying the Batman did. I'm just saying if you're trying to do that with your fan film stuff, don't try and do, a big blockbuster lower budget, because you're never going to outdo that, because then you'll just look at it and go, hey, this is lesser than. There was, even though Star Wars Theory is kind of shit now with some of his takes and everything, his Vader film, he did have lots of budget and that looked great, but that was also a short film, right? So I think you could do a big budget short film for Batman, absolutely. But if you're thinking of something longer, I think that's where you could get people doing real bigger takes on. I still don't think we've really got to take on that Batman is a psychologically really broken person. I think the Batman's the one that touched upon it the most. I think Batman Forever got close as well too. I think just going out the whole like he has to go out there because he's sick in the mind, So I think there's tons of stuff you could do. And I'm personally excited because like DC will still make their stuff. People can't do Justice League. People can't touch certain characters and storylines. And maybe, just maybe, if DC is putting out mess stuff and everyone goes around like, oh, this Batman fan film or this film, whatever it may be, is really good, maybe they'll go, shit, like we do got to change it up, right? So I don't think it's like the end of Batman. I don't think lots of those Batman ones are going to make a big splash. Let's talk when, like I said, a Disney, Paramount, Universal, A24, Apple say, hey, we're making a $200 million Batman movie. And it is just using that stuff. Then we'll go, okay, let's see. Do a Batman black and white for like a fan film. And even then now, technically, that's the difference too. It would not be a fan film anymore. It would just be a film. As long as you stick within those guidelines, it would be a film. GeekVerse Batman killing villains, not saving them. No, I wouldn't. I've said this before. Me personally, in real life, I'm a Frank Castle guy. I believe if guilty, death penalty. I'm a death penalty guy, which some people probably don't think fits with me because I lean more left and everything. I'm all for the death penalty. I have many reasons, we won't get into it, but I don't think people that do certain things should have life. I know people say, oh, they're in prison. Yeah, well, they can still eat. They can still have a laugh. If they have a certain time, they can still fucking have orgasms. Maybe some are against their will, but some aren't. There's many things in prison people can still like have a life where they've taken life away from others. No, I'm all for the death penalty. So, but for Batman, the reason I don't like him to kill, which I think he did kill in the 1939 one. And again, it's not like if you made that Batman, he has to kill. It's just like that was part of the story. He has a gun. But the reason I like Batman not killing is because for me, when I look at Batman, he's supposed to be better than us. He's supposed to be better than me, better than the rest. So he's supposed to have that wherewithal to go, no, this person should go to law, do their time, whatever, right? So no, if I were to do that, Batman wouldn't be killing. And if he did kill, it would be a massive deal, a big story point, where something that in BVS, it is a massive story point, but for me, I thought the execution was done poorly, but I feel like it has to be that. It has to be like The Dark Knight. He didn't end up killing anybody, right? Really? Like it was manslaughter stuff if he did, but he didn't kill anybody. That was the whole vocal point of the story, right? So I think that's what you'd have to do. Maddie says, what villain would you want to play if GV made a Batman film? Oh, you know this answer. I'm the Clown Prince of Podcast. That's like I'm ready to give a very shitty version of Joker. No, of course, like I'd pour my heart and soul into that thing. And I'm very excited because our next few projects, I don't think we reveal much about the second one. The first one, I am, one of the main characters, and I'm mostly just a stray man. I'm the guy that we've to give you the synopsis, right? Robert wakes up in the woods and he's fighting for his life. And there's acting I do in there for sure, but it's more just it's a lot of reacting. And I'm playing a normal guy on the run, right? The second one, it is a I don't know how to say this. There are thriller aspects to it, but it is involving realistic people or just characters that would fit in the real world. That's what I'm excited about the next kind of 2 projects we have coming up. I don't care. Fuck yeah. We're working on a 4th one already. We're writing these scripts and talking about them for Project 3 and Project 4. I'm very excited because that's when I'm going to get to do some like really good, well, good's subjective, and I'm sure I'll get fucking torn apart because I'm not an actor. There's elements of me that are an actor, but I mean, like, I'm not an actor as far as like the high class, high tier people. So it's just me trying my best. But I'm excited to do those because that's going to be me getting to be a bit more chewing the scenery, characters that aren't not realistic, but just like more voltage turned up to 100, so that's what I'm very excited for. So I would definitely be Joker because I'd want to go full in that. Would it be good? Would it be not? I don't know, but I would definitely do what I've said before. My critiques are like no ugly Joker. Like my Joker would be very pretty, very with the costume, everything. Like we need more of that. So it would definitely have to be Joker, and that's the one that happens to be in public domain in 2026 or 2036. Huh, who would have thunk? Talaric1 says, this is how we saw Sherlock Holmes and Cathal wave in the past 10 years. The IPs were free and cheap. Yeah, same thing with like Robin Hood, King Arthur. Obviously, Disney stuff that you can do Little Mermaid or Ariel, but it just can't be like the Disney songs and the specific iconography and everything. That's what happens, right? With those ones, I think it's a lot broader because it's like the Sherlock Holmes book is public domain, like maybe the first one or something. So it's like you can take everything from there, all the villains, everything, and then you go upon it. So if I make a Sherlock Holmes movie, I can't pull things from the Robert Downey one because that's their iteration. But anything else Sherlock, I can do that, right? That's why we have so many Christmas carols, right? Because that's public domain. And there's one that I hopefully in my life, wink or wink not, have talked about wanting to do some things with because I fucking love Christmas Carol. So, but yeah, when it's public domain, we get lots of stuff. So how will it affect it? I don't know. And who knows? Maybe we'll need it because who knows what's going to happen with these Batman films? Because in this story, so something came out today about the Batman's filming schedule, the script, everything like that. So this is where it comes to, should we be worried? There's the little tier worry of just delay, and there's the big tier worry of what's going to happen with this movie, right? Is it still going to be a go? DCU is always in flux. So to like know all that, I do think it's going to happen. I think part 2 is safe. I've said this before where for me, if that goes away because of a gun DCU, we couldn't create a match, I will of course watch the DCU stuff. I'm not going to be this guy, I'm quitting. It's just my excitement for that drops heavily. It's something that it's a pre-existing franchise or whatever trilogy. Hopefully they said we're getting a second one. And for me, I love, James Gunn, a lot of his work, but for me, it's not worth, the DCU as of right now is not worth the Batman. It is a proven commodity versus the idea of a cinematic universe, which could die first thing at the gate, right? And I understand this because I was talking with the GUA people and Clay chimed in, and Clay also does not like the Batman, so I wasn't surprised by this take, Clay, if you're listening. But he said like he was on the other side because, well, he wants to get the universe established and then start doing Elseworlds stuff. And I would completely agree if the Batman wasn't a thing already. They already said the Batman 2 is happening. And the reason I said a thing already, because one, there's a promise there to kind of finish this out, I would feel with people. But two, it's more so that it is a proven commodity. It is a success. It made, 700 million in the COVID era and stuff like that. Almost 800, right? Let me just confirm that. I think it was. I think it still made like under Thor, Love and Thunder or something like that. Or maybe they're around the same. Let's just say the Batman. Let's see. Box office 772 million. Thor, Love and Thunder. I don't know why. I just remember them being very close. And that was Thor, Love and Thunder was 70-60. Yeah. So it was one of those things that was like close around to there. And that's why I always said like people that gave shit about Thor Love and Thunder and there being a Thor 5. It's like DC and Warner Brothers considered The Batman a mega hit because it made almost 800 million. Thor Love and Thunder did the same thing. You know, it's like just because MCU was in billions before does not mean it's not a mega hit, which I would consider. To me, it's like once you get to that 700, you're in like the mega hit category, you know, depending on your budget, of course. So, because what I was saying to Clay is it's very dumb if you go, let's say they went, we don't actually want to do the Batman 2. We're going to get rid of that and just hope that the Superman Legacy works. You get rid of that and the Super Legacy. If Superman Legacy comes out and disappoints financially, I'm just talking financially, you have major egg on your face. And I'd feel like if I was Zaslav or whoever at Warner Brothers making decisions, I'd go, man, first at the bat, James Gunn made a really bad call. It's a lot different if the Batman Part 2 comes out and Superman Legacy comes out and it kills, like does very well. That's where I always say Part 3 for the Batman, I'm always more worried about because I feel like they've also sunk money into this as far as getting Reeves and Tomlinson to write the script. They've talked, I'm sure they're doing production stuff. Like it would literally be wasting money. Now, Zaslav has done that where he'll just write stuff off and get a tax write-off. You can't do that with scripts, but he has shown to throw out stuff, so you never know. But I think that would be a Gunn decision. Maybe, we'll see. And I think that would be a mistake. Wait at least until Legacy to make something as bold. Now, I don't think so. If you were to say, hey, the Batman 3 is the end it there, we're done, then just do it. But if you were, and I still wouldn't like that, if you were to say, hey, Legacy was a hit, we actually don't want to confuse people, we're going to end it with the Batman 2, I would get it a little bit more as a business person. I wouldn't understand it. And I think it would also depend on how the Batman 2 did, right? If, let's say, the Batman 2 did, let's just say 900 million and Superman Legacy did 600, 700, it's like, okay, very good for Legacy, but it's still not the Batman numbers, whether that is the franchise or whether that is a character, whatever it may be, it's not pulling in that number. So that's the thing where, for me, I think it will still happen, and that would be the line, because I love Gunn's work, but for me, and that's where it all depends to what your liking is, right? Because I remember I asked this at the GUA, and I think most of them picked the Legacy, and I don't mean this as a shot at them, and because I've seen other people on Twitter do the same thing, because it's like, oh, it's a new iteration, da-da-da. For me, it's just like, Matt Reeves is like, to me, I love all the Guardians movies, but none of them are on the Batman level. And that's not just because like I'm a Batman fan. I would hate that when people say that. It's just like, I have multiple projects I don't like. If I just love everything Batman, why am I not giving the BVS 10s out of 10s when it came out? Like I hate that. Oh, we're just a Batman fan. That's it. No, like I can say there's films like I could, as I've said before, if you were to come to me and say, hey, you know what? I actually think Across the Spider-Verse better than the Batman. I thought, you know what? I can see it. I can see the argument. I can't see the argument for any of the Guardians films being as good as the Batman. That's just a personal take, but it's also just like the craftsmanship of how Reeves does filmmaking, writing, the scope of things. It's a very Nolan, Denis Villeneuve level where I just don't think Gunn has that gear. I'm not trying to be mean, and maybe he will. Maybe Legacy will come out and show me wrong, but with the with the other stuff too, but comic book stuff, even Suicide Squad and the Guardians trilogy, none of that's the Batman level, and his other stuff like Slither and Super, none of that is even Clover. I'd say like maybe Cloverfield. Cloverfield's different. I'll take that back because I haven't seen it in a while, but the Apes movies, those are like Dawn of the Planet Apes is fucking juice. He to me, it's just there's different class of filmmakers, and that's why for me, even if I didn't like love the Batman, it's still like the Batman 2 because it's just like he said. I don't think we're getting that same filmmaking in Superman Legacy. This is the time maybe he'll prove me wrong, and he will evolve, right? But I don't think so because I think it'll be similar to Squad and fun time and everything. But let's get into these rumors after sad break. And we're back. Good old Maddie Say. It's good to see how late you up there over there. Sometimes you're not awake for these casts and stuff like that. So let's see. The wait for the Batman 2 is killing me. I need confirmation they start shooting to be reassured. I know I got to be patient. Let Reeves cook, though. Better to wait for quality. Yeah, as long as it's still happening, I'm down to wait. Of course, you never know. Could get hit by a bus and miss it, but I got the Batman, at least number one. I think I'm going to be watching that soon because it's been talking about so much. But so the timeline originally was, it's filming November 2023. Great. Okay. It's pushed back. And some of this was the strike stuff too, right? So 100%, even though I feel like they were probably writing during the strike and they're not going to say they were, but fine, whatever. Let's say they're not. it gets pushed to March, and we're coming up on March. And this is where I'll bring up Star Wars later. Coming up to March, and now it's like, no, not so much. So it's looking like a date of August 2000, or just this year, August 2024. And the release date right now is October next year. If that happens, because I know, Maddie, you're, let me bring it up. I think your Patreon question, I know you had a few, but I think this one is around, here you go. Hate to say it, but I feel like we're destined for another March 2026 release date. And then also asked my thoughts. And also, do we have news on the Penguin, whether they complete filming or when it's expected to be released? So they just started refilming on Penguin a couple weeks ago. So I think if we get that this year, that's going to be late this year or early. It's kind of like what your scenario is here. I feel like it's like an October, November max drop or like a March drop. We'll see. But I think it just depends, because people could still edit during the strike, right? I just don't know how much of the show they filmed. But I think Penguin, that's back to filming, so we'll get it late this year, early next year. And 2026, it is possible. Now, the thing is, if they legitimately do shoot in August, that's more than enough time. That's almost a year and a half, because what's that? August, September, October. Okay, so it's a year and 3 months, but still, that's tons of time, I think, to get that done, get post-production. And then worst case scenario, yeah, you do delay it. But if it is later in August, going into September, or if it gets delayed again, then I think August is like to me, that's where Reeves is going to want time to cook, you know? He wants to make sure that juice is tasty. So I think that if it does get delayed one more time, it will get delayed to 2026. And honestly, it's like, I do want it. It's not the worst thing. Like, I would delay everything else to get it, right? But 2025 is very packed, and it's at the end that year. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. I don't know if that's like, the best for last. People are going to really come out for something that's really quality, or if they get superhero fatigue again and they're just like, ugh, like I saw this and I saw this. I'll just skip Batman this time, you know? I'm sure they're going to make another one down the line. Doesn't matter if I skip this one, right? So I don't think 2026 pushing is like the worst thing ever for a business point of view. For our point of view as fans, Manny, absolutely. That's a kick to the balls right there. Not good. But that's what the report was today, that it's getting pushed till August filming, which that's now we're getting longer, which sucks. That means casting's probably further off. And then there was some sort of line where, let me get the exact quote from the scoop. But it's like, I think like a C+ tier scoop. So it's like not 100% like Variety or Deadline reporting it, but let me get the official. And that's why people got like a little worried. And I think a talk of like, oh shit. Okay. So 2 weeks ago, DC head James Gunn had stated that no script had been submitted to him yet. A deadline has now been officially set, which who knows if it's officially, because that's up for them, but officially set for early February script submission, with the casting to fall soon afterwards. The film is set to be theatrically released October 3rd, 2025. And I think this was something to do with like, I can't remember. I didn't have that part of the report, but it was something where it was tied with the legacy production. So it was almost like get it in by February or you're not. And this is just us reading into C+ tier scoops and stuff, but it was like get it in by February or August might not be happening as far as filming, right? If it like I do get that, because you do got to put your resources into other things. So it's in a tough spot, right? Again, if I were to talk to James Gunn and he were to say, like, I promise on your kids, like if I just knew, like if I had whatever, I had truth serum and he couldn't lie to me and said, no matter what happens, you're going to get the Batman 2. We might delay it a year, but you're going to get it. Then I'm fine. The idea of like, it has to be in by February, or, you know, that's the date, like get it in by early February, right? I don't want it to be, my joke was, you know, Reeves, you know, submits it February 2nd, 12:01, and Gunn is like, nope, sorry, we're going to move on. Like, I don't want to get in some power struggle scenario, and we've no reason to think it happened, right? But like, these shit happens all the time in Hollywood. So I don't want it to be this scenario where maybe Gunn wants to put resources to one film and Reeves is kind of holding him up. But at the same time, Reeves is also like, well, I want to get this right. I want to be rushed. Like I talk about Adrenochome, right? Like I have the power. We have the power to say, hey, I don't feel 100% with this cut yet. We're going to delay it a month. You know, I like, that's where I said, like, I don't need to feel the pressure of something. You got to get this out there. different in Hollywood. You get that pressure all the time, right? And sometimes it being a filmmaker might help those situations because maybe you get just see eye to eye, or maybe it doesn't. Just feel like, oh, you're trying to put your universe and your films over mine. I got a track record. People really enjoyed this. I want to do more. Who knows what yours is going to be? You just want to do the MCU spinoff. Like you could see stuff start to fester. And I'm not trying to be a red eye thumbnail. People that say that is happening, right? I'm just saying that's a theory or worrisome from people of like, it has to be by February. And because like, why? That's what I'm hoping is just a budget thing, right? Because if not, why would you say it has to be February? Why wouldn't you just say like, get me when it's done, and then we'll go from there, And even if you go, hey, sorry, we're gonna do Supergirl first because you took so long, I would say, yeah, that's fair. I take a little longer. That sucks, but just give me time because then guess what? I can just refine the script more. Think about actors. So it's like, I just don't believe that's what is odd. If it is I don't believe Gunn right now is like trying to force them out, but it's also weird if that was true of like you need it in by February. That's the deadline, right? Where it's like, why do we have a deadline for a successful movie? As long as it's not, if it's business wise, fine. And that's where there's like so much head spinning. And I think there's so much stuff because it has been a while where we got the Batman and then it took a couple months to get the sequel and then we keep hearing rumors and stuff. I think once we even get a cast, I'm not like the Ray movie or the War Machine movie where I have to see them filming. I think once we get it cast, then it's like, okay, we're rolling. Even if we get filming delayed, like we got people, they're not going to announce the cast nowadays with the Batman Part 2, I think, and screw this up, right? So I'm still confident this will happen. Part 3, I don't know. So much could change by then. The Batman 2 could bomb. Superman Legacy bomb. They could both bomb. They could both be good. And James might just be like, cool, whatever. Just keep doing your thing. It's working out. Like, we don't know the scenarios. As we talked about, Mission Impossible, Indiana Jones, The Marvels, Aquaman, The Flash. Like, there's so many movies that could have been massive, big movies and were in the past that bombed. We don't. Same thing with this year with all the movies out. It's like, I don't have a crystal ball anymore to tell you what for sure is going to do a mega hit. I got a couple, but it's up in the air with box office right now. So that's where it's tough. We'll see what happens. I hope it does get in February. I hope that's just the case where they submit it, we get a script, and we start to move on. Casting, everything. Because I want it. I want it as soon as possible, but I still want it done well. So we'll see, because if this rumor is true, then February will roll around, and I would say by March, we'd either start hearing some stuff like production's a go, they're casting this villain, there's this set piece, set's got to be made or prepped, or it's, hey, it's past February and we haven't heard a thing. That could be that, hey, he didn't submit in time, they're going to push it back. That could be this deadline thing is complete BS and not real at all. Who knows? Maddie Six says, business-wise, you're completely right. Having it come out March, like the first film, you start the year off with a banger. Absolutely, right? Like, it worked the last time. That summer movie season's going more and more, like, past into the spring. And even, let me just take a look I know the summer's packed, but let's just, like, look in the Q4 of 2024 here. Or 25, sorry. Because I know it was stacked. So in September, there's nothing there. October, obviously the Batman. Blade, it was November 7th. Okay, I'm going to go back. I'm not going to talk about the stuff after because that won't matter. So before, let's see the summer. So from June to August, no listings yet. From June, Dirty Dancing. June, you got How to Train Your Dragon live action. Moana. July, you have Superman Legacy. July 25th, you have Thunderbolts. So you know what? It's actually not as bad. So I'm just saying, like, if it goes to the beginning, that's a good sign too. But it's not as bad as I thought because August and September really have nothing big. And the Batman could be the big, like, fall movie, right? I think October is a perfect time for Batman. And this version, it does, even though it won't be on Halloween. I think like the last one, it has that Halloween creepy sort of vibe. So I still think it's fine. Legacy is the one that, again, I'm not actually as worried about now. I guess there has been a couple delays, so maybe these things are spaced out. But I think Legacy Thunderbolts is what I worry about. 2 weeks after Superman, not great. But we'll see. Hopefully we get this news soon, and we can just start talking about the good news for the Batman 2, like casting and production, everything like that. Maybe a new suit, a poster, a color scheme, stuff. So we'll see. More scuttlebutt. as far as movies being made or not being made, the Rey movie. So this week there was two rumors that came out, one last week and then one this week, and then there's rumors to rebuttal those. Yeah, rebut. There we go. The butt. Almost forgot the butt. One rumor was, and these are all C plus tier, and then the people that push it back, I'd say is higher. Oh no, I'd say they were C tier. The person that pushes like a C plus, maybe B, and then Lucasfilm made a statement. So here's a trajectory. C tier rumor. Stephen Knight hasn't even handed in a script yet. They're still working on another draft, but that's not there. That's why Rey movie was supposed to film first. No longer happening. Another C tier rumor backs that up, but goes further and saying Stephen Knight's dropped out and the film's going to be delayed indefinitely. And then Jermaine Lucere, or I don't know how you say his name, he puts out some report as saying, hey, and I guess it was a combined thing, right? I guess it was, excuse me. Oh, God. Cough attack. It was a combined thing of still being written. I guess we had lost on those ones of what Lucasfilm was, but Jermaine put out that he had heard that Stephen Knight's still working on a draft and May's the date, and I think Dan Rickman put out something pretty similar, at least that the draft is still being worked on. So it's a scuttlebutt of, is the movie being delayed? Now, technically, what you have to do, and this is what Katie from Star Wars Alliance was pointing out, go check out that show on our podcast network, the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, and go check out they're doing their survey as well. Our survey is in the link, so if you want to do it, you still can. We did close it. It was closed, but still, we'll take some more response and stuff like that. Always want to hear from the people. But with Star Wars and Marvel and DC Alliance and all Geek Ultimate Alliance, they got their survey going on right now. So head over to their Twitter or the links in their shows, and it's all there. And we'd appreciate just the feedback for us and them. So technically, I would say that Jermaine and Rickman definitely have more sources than the other ones. And even this one saying, Jermaine saying a source from Lucasfilm, right? Which I guess a lot of the sources always are, but this is him confidently saying, no, I know some of Lucasfilm is telling me this, or they're relaying this message to me, or through me. So it's so tough with Star Wars because Katie was pointing this out, and even in my mind, when the tiers are there, the tiers favor the news of they're working on it, and don't worry about it. It's coming. The problem is the past. In the past 5 years, 5 years since we got Force Awakens, of the untrustworthiness of the Star Wars universe. The trustworthy MCU happened last year and a half. We can't trust them right now. Let's see if they can win us back here all the time. I'm not saying anything has to be great, but let's get out of the this is the worst MCU stuff, With Star Wars, they have a very bad track record of announcing things way in advance, and we've done this rigmarole, right? So that's where it's tough, where I agree with Katie, and I see all her points and other points too. People are, look at these other scoopers that are much bigger. They're pointing out, the Rey film's definitely happening. Maybe. Where I am, and I understand the process, right? Where Damon Lindelof was working on this movie. The rumor was that he was working on a movie that was a 80-year-old Rey that was played by a Hal Mirren type training these two new Jedis. And there's, it is scuttlebutt. Like he says, nothing was ever confirmed, but there's some scuttlebutt that, hey, he wrote the first draft and was happy to go away. And there's some that, he was kind of booted from the project. They didn't like his script. He didn't like that they picked a director without him, because that was the reports, right? It was Lindelof is going to spearhead a Star Wars movie, which meant he'll write, but also what he did with Watchmen, where he brought in a bunch of voices, different directors. He was maybe the captain of the ship, but he wasn't the most important person of it. He got the ship going and then gave the reins to other people, or just multiple captains, right? That's true. I don't know why I'm using a ship pirate analogy, but I am. But that's what it sounded like he was going to do, where he was going to direct this and he could bring other people on, but he was going to spearhead it. And there's some people that say, that was the goal, and then they kind of took the reins from him. He leaves, Stephen Knight comes on. For me, I know when people go, well, it's Hollywood, and someone writes a script and then they get notes and they redraft it, and then it goes through the process and maybe they bring on another writer. I get it. I understand. You don't need to spell it out. It's like people are acting like this is regular film stuff. It's not. This is Star Wars that has screwed this up multiple times. And for me, what I've said is other studios can do this. And I don't even want to see this because like MCU has their issues. And luckily no one's brought this up to me. I think I've seen it like once in a while sprinkle on my timeline. But the idea of people go, oh, well, Marvel does this all the time. They rewrite and sometimes even write on set. Yes, and of course, yes, they're having some issues last year and even this year to me with Echo, and we feel that. They're having some issues with the writing, but their movies were still being made and shows were still being made, and for many years they were successful at that. Star Wars to me doesn't get the benefit of the doubt with that. They don't get to be like, oh, well, this is just like everything else in Hollywood. No, they've screwed up so many times where it's like, no, this is just another screw up by them. For me, it doesn't matter. I know the process of like, oh, rewrites happen and notes happen. I get it, but no, there shouldn't be any rewrites, any notes, and we know about it. I'm fine if someone says, hey, I've heard a rumor, they're working on a Rey movie, Daisy Ridley's attached, it's one Lindelof was working on, he left, Steve Knight, and maybe they want to control the narrative or get it out there, get a pop at Star Wars Celebration, whatever it may be, I don't care. And at the end of the day, I guess with the general audience, it doesn't matter because if a movie comes out, they'll just watch it. They won't know any about this stuff, right? But Star Wars does pay attention to their online fan base to a degree. And I just feel like, and even just like, I don't understand how shareholders have not just reamed out more of like getting more films out to push their parks and everything. But I don't think we should, for Star Wars, until we get a couple films under their belt again, I don't think we should know about anything until they're about to go into production. And even then, it's hard to believe because Soul happened, right? But to me, it's just like, we've heard this before where people, oh, well, yeah, writing scripts are normal. But we had that with, oh, yeah, Ryan's working on the scripts. One day we'll get linked back together. Oh, Taika's working on the scripts. And guess what? After Thor Love and Thunder, it's his next project. And guess what? It's not. Hey, the Rey movie, it's going to be the first movie back of these new ones. Guess what? It's not anymore. It's Mandalorian Grogu. That was announced at Star Wars Celebration. So just thinking of like, already it's like, this is the first project. Well, actually, it's not. Well, and Stephen A. is still working on another draft. Just get the shit together. It's the same reason as like, if those rumors were true that Lindelof wrote that script and it was an 80-year-old Rey and Lucasfilm was like, yeah, we don't like this. Like, what are these meetings they're having? Like, what are they fucking talking about? Like, well, why isn't everything linked down the same way as like whether it was Wonder Woman 1984 or just like, oh, there's rumors that Patty was maybe hard to work with, which could just be a narrative Star Wars someone's thrown out there. Oh, it was hard or this, that. You know, they couldn't agree on story aspects. Why? They should have agreed on story aspects before they made the fucking Top Gun, her skating around at the flight school or whatever, right? Like, it's just 101 for business in general, but it's 101 for like Star Wars that has had so many issues, in my opinion. Like, you got to get this together. Like, it's enough of this rigmarole of announced project with sexy names, whether it's stars or actors, and then it doesn't happen. We go through a bunch of scripts and so, well, we're working on. I have now, it's one of these things like the sky's not falling, and I know most scoopers have still said that's the plan, it's happening, but it's like I've been given more evidence for it not to happen again now, and it's just the, you know, shame me once, fooling you, shame me twice, fooling gonna get fooled again, you know, like that's where it is. I can't believe them till I see it, and it's an unfortunate thing, but that's where for me, again, two things already on this Rey film was supposed to be filming first, and it's not. And then, okay, it was supposed to, you know, the scripts are still being written. What? So, you put a gun to my head. I will say right now, I feel like the movie is happening, but it is a 51-49 split. It is very close, and the only reason it's split is just because a few scoopers have said, yeah, I'm still hearing it's a go. And here's my thing. I don't think those scoopers are wrong. I bet they're being told that. Doesn't mean by May, if we like, to me, if we're not filming by May, maybe that's where the percentage flips. That's like a strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, you're out, you know. Super Mike says Lucasfilm has a serious boy cried movie wolf syndrome when it comes to announcing movies. We're trained to assume it's not going to happen. Absolutely right. It's just a joke, and I think we kind of all not thought, but it was almost like the last gasp, that last Star Wars Celebration when they announced those 3 movies. It was kind of like, okay, this is it. These have to happen, you know, and it just felt like they're doing a big rollout again, celebration, strikes, or that was before the strike, I guess, but COVID's over, you know, TV shows are kind of meh, like, let's get the film franchise going again, and here we are, you know, so I agree it's tough, we have to believe to see it, and these rumors already are just making me worried, because other projects, like with the Batman, The reason I'm worried about the Batman 2 is not because, oh, Reeves is still working on the script and they announced it. That's different. That's a sequel. Reeves trusted. I'm only worried in the sense of they're trying to create a cinematic universe where the Batman has nothing to do with that as of right now, right? That's the head blocking. I'm worried about the Young Avengers or War Machine, which, you know, I like to bug Brent and Chris about as far as saying it's a fake movie, right? Brent doesn't think it qualifies. I just think it does because I just don't think that movie's going to happen. For me, that's not because like an MCU track record. That's just because we'll talk about She-Hulk in a second. There's certain projects where I just feel like this shouldn't happen anymore if you're trying to make a profit with MCU. If you're trying to make a success, War Machine's not the way to go. With Lucasfilm, it's not that I don't think a Star Wars film can't be profitable. It's not that I don't think this is going to clash with some universe. It's just that we don't fucking trust them, and they've dropped the ball way too many times for me to hear, oh, they're still working on the script, and this is a film that's going to be going. Yeah. Sure, Jan. We'll see. But I'm still going to give them benefit of doubt. 51%. All right, let's take our second ad break, and then we're going to get into some... oh, no, we're not. We're going to get into... Before we do that, let me go into S-Bub's question here. He asked the doozy. If every upcoming Star Wars movie and TV show were about to be canceled, and you could only save one, which would it be? And then the little fucker put, for a harder question, challenge you to say Andor 2. Because that would probably be it. Now, I will preference this with, like, Rumorland. The only thing that probably could have beat Andor 2 if they had publicly announced, hey, we're doing Knights of the Old Republic something, right? So let me get Star Wars upcoming projects. So I was gonna say, like, oh, is this all of them here? Or is this just the show? Oh my god, that's so scary when you click on it. There's so many. Like Untitled Sean Levy, the Rey movie, Tales of the Jedi. Okay, so let's animated stuff. I'll kick because like I love the animated stuff. No, okay, well I don't love the animated stuff, but it's like, I got my fill. Like if I lose it, I got a good portion. Like Clone Wars, Rebels. I can catch up on Bad Batch, Star Wars, fucking Visions, Tales of the Jedi. Lots of good stuff. So animated stuff, boot all that. Rogue Squadron, that was already dead. So the Mandoverse stuff, I would kick because I'm the reason I'm most excited about that is one, just to get a Star Wars movie. So it's just kind of like if you're single and you hadn't had sex in a while, and maybe you don't got the best chemistry with this person, and maybe you're not the most attracted to him, but you're like, you know what? We're vibing enough. This is gonna get the job done. It's been a couple months. Let's pony up. That's what the Filoni and Favreau movies are for me, where it's just like, yeah, I haven't been laying in bed. Let's do this. I'll take any Star Wars movie right now. I'm begging you, give me a Star Wars movie. I'm done with the Disney Plus stuff for the most part. And that's where almost all of them, and that's where, so for the Disney Plus, I guess we go that route as far as the movies. I take out Filoni and Favreau's movie because I'm more excited by them on a business point of view than being excited for the movies. I don't know if I need Star Wars Avengers. I don't know if I need Mandalorian Grogu, so take those out. Same thing for shows. Season 4 Mando, kick that. Ahsoka Season 2 I am interested in, but I'm interested, but if I have to kick it, that's when I would kick, because I did really enjoy it. There were some episodes that were great, but there were some lulls in there, so I would kick that. Let's see. I'll go down. Kevin Feige in the movie, that one's dead. Book of Boba Fett, no. Skeleton Crew, yeah, like the pitch so far seems fine, but I'm not like, maybe ask me after a trailer. The Johnson trilogy, no, you could kick that. A Droid Story, you could kick that. New Republic, that's dead already. Sean Levy and Taika Waititi, you could kick both of those. I'd have to hear what the projects were first, just a pitch, and then maybe I would change my mind. Like if Sean Levy's like, yeah, I'm doing that Kylo Ren Ben Solo movie, or I'm doing Knights of the Republic, sure. But again, I have to know. So just based on their talent, I like Sean Levy. I like Taika. I think Taika would be best, especially for his career right now, to focus on non-Star Wars film stuff. Like he just made fucking Jojo Rabbit a few years ago, and I'm gonna see Next Goal Wins a couple days from now. My Logan, my second daughter, is sick, and she's gonna be home with me the whole week. She's been, poor girl. She threw up and pooped her pants at the same time. I felt so bad. It was just like, oh man, like that just sucks. She has the flu right now, so it's just like, just a bummer. So I'm watching Spy Kids, and fucking they love the Woody Woodpecker movie. So oh god, shoot me. But she's sick, so I let her watch whatever. I try to get Shrek in there, but she did agree tomorrow to watch some more Disney dad stuff that I like. So I'm like, cool, or anything, just something. We did watch Puss in Boots today, and that was like thumbs up, still great. So that stuff I'd have to kick. I like Sean Levy, but I don't love him that much. And Taika should focus on original adapted book stuff. Lando, whatever that is, you can kick it. I got Solo. I could watch that. So really, all it comes down to is 3. It's the James Mangold project, the Acolyte project, and the Rey movie project. And Superman Mike brings up Acolyte because it looks like a fresh start, new characters, no homework. Yes. So here's the thing. This is like a cheat, right? If Acolyte could be close, just a little bit close to the quality of Andor, it would be Acolyte. Because I am, like Mike said, new era, new stories. I want them to go back. I want them, and I don't think future was the issue either. To me, it's like if we get new movies about that time, like do what they are doing now, right? I don't want like, oh, let's just jump 10,000 in the future. It's like that's where I did agree, or like if that was an issue Star Wars had with Lindelof's script of like why is Rey 80, I'd have that too. I'd be like, first of all, I wouldn't have paid him to write it, but I would be like, no, we want to use Daisy Ridley, like write it as a 30-year-old woman or be gone, you know, like keep Ridley around. People like her for the most part. It is a riskier movie to do because not everyone loved the sequels, and there's a group of people that might be meh. I don't know, meh. Episode 10, I know it's not episode 10, but like, do we need this? So it's tough. I like the Mangold one. Here's where I am on quality. I would pick the Mangold one because I still really enjoyed Indy 5. Love Logan. Love a lot of the things he's done. Quality-wise, I'd pick that, but the pitch, I don't care about. I don't want a First Jedi movie. I think that could hurt Star Wars lore, so that's where I'd say that's a potential kick. The Acolyte pitch is great because, like we said, new characters, new era, a High Republic Phantom Menace, you know? But the quality, I don't know if it's going to be there. And then Rey, that has the pitch. I don't know if it has a quality because the director, who knows? But that one has like the heart. So it's like quality, Mangold, Dawn of the Jedi. Heart pick because I love, I love the Rey and Kylo dynamic. I end up loving Rey near the end of that franchise, so I put her in my top 10 characters. Love Daisy Ridley. Thought she did great in that role. So the heart pick is the Rey movie. And then the pitch pick is Acolyte. What do I do? I really don't know. So it's like, what do I get? Like, I think for me, I would just still have to pick the Rey movie just because it's going forward. And I want the idea of these rumors of her actually starting a new Jedi Council, getting a Jedi Order, because we would get that with the Acolyte, but we know how that's going to end, right? This would be, hey, we're getting a new Jedi Order, and fuck, where could we go? This could create a whole bunch of new spin-offs and stuff like that. Mangold, I think, still could be the best project, if it even happens. But again, it's just like I don't have much interest in The First Jedi. I know some people do. That's not my bag, baby. So, yeah, let's take our second ad break, and then we're going to get into some Marvel news. And so we'll be right back. And we are back. So let me pull up the topics here. She-Hulk season 2 not happening, which ties into what I was just talking about with Brendan Chris as far as the War Machine being a fake movie. Tatiana Maslany. Now, this could be joking. She was at the Emmys. He asked about She-Hulk season 2. She said, oh, no. I'm paraphrasing, but pretty much, no, we broke the budget. They haven't asked us back. I think they said no thank you. I hit on a few things she actually did say, but I think it was worded differently. Now, it could be tongue-in-cheek. It could because of an expensive show, but I think it is they haven't got a call. Like, I do think this is someone revealing the truth in like a jokey way. She still got to do it. She still will be around the same way as, I think she will be around at least. Because like the same way as like Incredible Hulk, the movie did not do well, but Hulk was still part of the Avengers and around a bunch, right? And that's the question of, do we see her again? I think we will. I don't think she's gone forever, but I do think it's like a potential smaller role. I don't know if she's an Avenger or not. Again, I would very much like to know who the fuck the Avengers are, but we will not know for a while. Maybe they're going to keep it a secret to the goddamn first trailer. I don't know. Of course, we got the set picture, so that won't happen. But I think this is where we've seen, if this is true, and let's just go with this, right? Because there were reports that it was happening, but if you got her saying it's probably not, what's happening? And that's where I was talking about some Vodka stream last week where I know it was Andy, and I like Andy a lot. He's a good guy. And I get why, especially, he talks about for multiple reasons, on Vodka Stream why he fights for diverse films like Blue Beetle and, Miss Marvel and stuff. And I can't remember, he said some comment of like, because I think I was talking about Thor, because, a lot of people on the stream don't like Thor Love and Thunder. And it was like, okay, what do you make? Thor 5 or anything Captain Marvel adjacent? Whether that be Miss Marvel, Monica. And it's like, whatever you think, you may love Kamala Khan, but like you go with Thor 5 because we just looked at it, right? 760 million. That's like not a sure guarantee bet, but much better than Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel. And this is why I'm talking about this, right? So let's go with the opinion that this is kaput. This is a true story that, hey, no She-Hulk 2. Then I do start to worry because a lot of those reports when we heard them in the earlier year, when they were like C+ scores, but it was like, oh, they're planning on doing Miss Marvel season 2, She-Hulk season 2, and Moon Knight season 2 are a project with Moon Knight. And if She-Hulk is now off the tables, to me, that could be a lot of those things off the tables. And that's where, for me, it's like, what are those shows like we talked about that could come back that are maybe gone now? Moon Knight, I think, is best to do kind of how I've pitched with Ghost Rider, do a Hulk scenario with them now. I'd love a season 2. I'd love to get more with Jake Lockley. That's definitely one of my more disappointments. Oh, fuck. It just sucks that I have a Moon Knight in the MCU and I'm just so like meh on it. Like I sometimes forget it exists. And it was my fucking pick too. Like Oscar Isaac was like the guy I said was perfect for the role. And there's some episode things in there that are great. For me, it's just so mid, and they missed a lot of the they missed the target on a lot of the things that make Moon Knight great. And I think a lot of people agree with me on that one. And that's where I think that, because it almost was like a Marvel spotlight where you could watch it by itself. I think you could just forget about that character for a while. Wait till you do Midnight Suns or something like that. Bring him there. I don't need him on the Avengers. I feel like the only reason he'd be on the Avengers is like why J-Law was such a big role as Mystique, because it's Oscar Isaac, which I do get, but like I don't think that's a fit right now. Save him for something else, or don't return to him, which is sad for me. But put him in What If. Put him in some animated stuff. So I think Moon Knight, just because of that reason, could very much not happen. Miss Marvel, it's tough. Now with Miss Marvel, I don't know what the budget was. She-Hulk had a budget of $225 million reported, which means it could be more. Oh, that's why it's like, what profit were you expecting to get? And that's what we've seen with these shows, right? They've all gone down as far as the ratings, whether it's Samba or whether it's actually Disney reporting them. Same way Disney like reported the numbers for the first few days of Loki, and that was lower than Mandalorian, or a bit lower than Loki season 1, right? So like the numbers are going down. People are caring less and less about these superhero projects. So that's where, to me, that money is not in Disney Plus anymore. We've talked about this on Marvel Alliance. I think Brent and Chris, just said this was Echo. They just reviewed it. Go check out their review because they have a much more positive one than ours, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that we didn't like it. Not saying that they liked those sons of bitches. How could they like them all? No, I'm just saying, unfortunately, I think we all would have preferred us to really enjoy it, and I don't think any of us did. But I think Disney Plus shows are going to go that way more, where it's Echo, where I don't think that was a large budget. I think that might be part of the reason why they made Netflix canon as well, which Vincent D'Onofrio just said like that was a recent thing that happened after the overhaul, that it wasn't going to be canon, but they decided to change it up. That could be a way where you bring in more stuff from those shows to make more street level, cheaper shows, because right now let's take a look, and I might have to ask this. I might have to say this for Marvel Alliance too. Let's see, Disney. Let's see, MCU TV shows, because other than not talking about the animated stuff, because animated stuff that's easier to talk, easier budget wise, right? For the most part, there's not really any shows that are cooking right now that we know about, right? The shows that were cooking were rumored or delayed. So you got. Fuck, just go down there. Here we go. So, the rumor, like a Moon Knight season 2, Miss Marvel season 2, She-Hulk season 2. She-Hulk season 2, let's say that's off the books. I think Moon Knight season 2 could be off the books. Miss Marvel, that's what my point is getting at, too, is if the budget is cheaper, which I don't think there was any big stars in there, and the effects definitely looked a little cheap or rushed, and they probably did with those effect artists. Oh man, did I? Okay, good. I just got to plug in my laptop soon. It's almost dying. To me, if it's cheap, if it's like the Netflix Echo route, maybe a little higher, then you could do Miss Marvel season 2. And that's where, season 1, lowest rated Disney Plus show. The Marvels movie, lowest box office for a Marvel film, right? If not, it's second lowest. You can't really justify, if it's a bigger movie, to do or if it's a bigger budget, sorry, to do a Miss Marvel season 2. You can't. Throw her in projects like Hulk, put her around, don't get rid of her. Kamala Khan Amon is one of the best things that's happened to the MCU, especially in this phase when they need some wins. You need to keep her around, but as a season 2, if it's like more expensive, no. Phase 5, we're not getting a Secret Invasion. Loki seems to be done. So here's the thing. Okay, so there is one other one that is started film a couple weeks ago, right? And I think it's at the smaller route. So again, take out the animated stuff. We have Ironheart and Agatha, which were what I was talking about in Marvel Alliance, or I trailed off. We talk about how we all agree with this era, with the Phase 4 and a little bit of Phase 5, there are shows and projects that got greenlit that wouldn't get greenlight now. You know, and even in the past when it got greenlight, but they came off the height of top shit, taking down Avatar, Endgame, and then No Way Home, and having some big hits, even in 2022, right? Now they're on the back step. Now they've had some flops. They're in the red for just certain projects. That's where you got to go, okay, we got to be more picky. So that's where Ironheart and Agatha, I think those are just their one-off, one and done. Maybe you'll see those characters again in the future. Who knows, but you don't get other seasons. Daredevil, that's being reworked, and I think that it will be still on the cheaper side, but it's being reworked. The only one that's filming and we for sure know about is Wonder Man. Obviously, there was War Machine. That got moved into a movie, but I just don't see a profit in that unless there is an ace in the hole, unless there's a massive change, unless there's and guess who's coming back? Robert Downey Jr. Oh my God, it's Robert. Like, no. That's the only way I see War Machine happening. Unless it's a very reduced budget too. That's always thing. If it's like 100, maybe even 150, maybe even 150 to me is pushing it. Because I could see let me just see what the Marvel's box office is right now. The Marvel's box office. Three's Company 2. Great show, right? Okay, Marvel's found box office right now, looking at 206. In my opinion, the Marvels, which has Brie Larson, who to me is a bigger star than Don Cheadle, like kind of overall, and then you have all these other characters. You got Nick Fury, and it's a sequel to the billion-dollar film, the biggest female superhero film of all time, Captain Marvel. That bombed. It made $800 million less than Captain Marvel. You're telling me that War Machine, which I don't think has the same backing and resume that those people do, and especially to me coming from the lowest, potentially, if they stick with that whole Skrull shit, even if that movie is 150, it would not break even. Even if it was 100, it would probably break even, maybe lose money. You can't tell me that's happening. And I think that was smart. And if it is happening, then yeah, they were smart to make it a movie instead of a show, because maybe it'll make more of a profit. But Wonder Man, that did start film a couple weeks ago, and from the rumored plot of it, it sounds pretty low key. Like there won't be much of a big budget to it, probably just the actors and some set production, pay the crew. I'm underplaying it, of course, but it doesn't sound like this is going to be a $225 million show, right? So after that, there's a rumor of the Nova show in development. No, that's not going to happen. Not a Disney Plus show. You can't make that cheap. And then Vision Quest. I don't know what Vision's effects cost. I don't know what Paul Bettany costs, but I don't know how much time and resources it would cost. I think if that's not out of the realm of possibility, like being just super expensive, I could see that, because then it's just a bunch of other robots like Vision, as long as it's not him stopping a world-ending threat. That's a possibility, but really, we don't have that far out, where I feel like for a while we were always knowing 2 years in advance what we were getting. Right now, we just know just this year, because you can say Daredevil, but we don't got a date. Like, it's hopefully next year, and I think it will be, but we don't still have a date, right? So that's where it's like a lot of these shows, we've seen that they're going to pull back on projects in general. And I think the shows are really, really going to get hurt. And that's where I think it's going to fuck them a little bit. And that's where I am in the camp where I do think they need to reboot after Secret Wars, because those shows also cause them to create too many characters. Because let's say, take out the shows, right? So let's see here. Okay, so take out Hawkeye, you don't get Kate Bishop. Take out Moon Knight, you don't get Moon Knight. Take out Miss Marvel, you don't get Miss Marvel. Take out She-Hulk, you don't get She-Hulk. Take out Secret Invasion, you don't get Gaia. I'll just say Gaia, but that's about it. Take out Echo, you don't get Echo. And even Hawkeye, I guess you don't get that. So Echo right there. Okay, and even WandaVision, you don't get Agatha. And that's about it, because Ironheart you would have got with Black Panther. So other than the characters like Loki and stuff, that was about 7 characters I listed that came directly from the TV shows, right? And that is a part of the problem where we, always say here, who are the Avengers? But also everyone's problem. My problem was never, and I think people misconstrued their issue. I'm not trying to speak for people, but the idea of where is the MCU going? They're clearly going to the multiverse Secret Wars war. Like, they lay it out, whether you don't like it or just don't understand it. The first episode of Loki is like, look at this multiverse war. It would suck if that happened again, eh? It's like I was winking earlier in this cast talking about a certain topic about making a certain fan film that would be a film now if public domain happens, which it sounds like it is. It's me just laying out like, hey, what I would like to do if the stars aligned, right? Same thing here. It's like, look at this sheet. This is where we're going. Kang in the finale says, see you real soon. Oh, by the way, there's thousands of me and they're going to come get you. And everyone's like, where is the cinematic universe going? I don't understand. Ay, fucking yay. But there were points of, and I'm not with the whole Eternals, like, where's the statue? Why is it in the sky? They haven't answered that. Well, couldn't you also just say that they might answer that in Eternals 2? We haven't got that, and we are getting that answered, supposedly in Cat 4. But still, that's not the stuff for me. It is the big time stuff. Like, yeah, Avengers, that's a pretty big deal. Where have they been? Who are they? When we get Avengers, what's the lineup, right? I know people might argue, well, with Avengers 1, we didn't really know the lineup officially. We knew there was films, but we didn't know the official lineup. Yeah, sure, true, but like, that's phase fucking 1. We're phase 5. They know better. We know better. Smarten up. But the other problem that I have, my biggest thing is, yeah, who are the Avengers? And the other thing that a lot of people were bringing up, which I didn't have an issue with in phase 4, but as we went on and I saw more projects, I do now. Where are all these characters? Disney Plus made too many shows and too many issues, and even the extended films, right? There's too many characters now. We haven't seen Shang-Chi. We haven't seen Eternals. I think, like I said, I bring this up all the time. There's like 19 projects since Captain America has become Sam Wilson. That is not right. He is Captain America. He should be all over the fucking place. He's the leader. We fucking saw Chris Evans like a year after in Thor Dark World. Like, even though it was like a fun cameo, we still saw him. And then we got that movie not far after, the Avengers 2. Like, the Disney Plus shows, same thing. When we get to see Yaya's Wonder Man, right? Like, they create too much. And that's where I almost would be more fine with if they were to, and that's why I don't like it being like a cliffhanger, but with, and even Echo, Moon Knight, if they were to say, hey, we're going to do some stuff, and this is not going to connect. I know you want everything to connect, but this is just going to be a one-off. Do that, have stuff like Moon Knight, the comic book when it came back, the Jeff Lemire run. It wasn't this big connecting crossover one. It was a solo story. Do that. People, of course, there were some connections, but people fell in love with the Netflix stuff because of those characters, not because, oh, I can't wait to see my Avengers. That was, of course, like a cool bonus if it happened, but as long as the shows are somewhat of quality and have something unique about them or something that will pull people in, you got it made. So that's where I think you'll see less things. So we'll see. Superman Mike says it's missing the fun of seeing all the characters get together, form friendships, bonds, and that was the Avenger movies. That's what the Avenger movies brought. Absolutely. And that's where, for me, it's like, it's tough, right? Because we kind of know Secret Wars is probably going to be, a lot of returning people, Hugh Jackman, Toby, and Andrew. I'm not saying no to that. I'm not like, are we sacrificing that? Sure. But it's something we've talked about 100 times now. And I'll just say it for anyone that's new. They should have done an Avengers film that was a Loki threat. Not Loki, but Masters of Evil. Boom. An Ultron type of person come back. Annihilus. So they just beat them off. They beat them and off their way they go, and then here we go, we're all together the same way as we talked about before. I bring this up on all the time, because that's the other thing. I brought this on Vodka Stream because someone said something, and here I bring it up all the time, where Avengers phase 1 there were little connections, but other than Iron Man 2, which did have a lot of like alluding to stuff, it was just, there's Thor's hammer in the ending credit scene, there's Captain America's shield, and he gets an end credit trailer, there's Iron Man Incredible Hulk. Iron Man 2 definitely was the extent of that, but even then it wasn't, I don't think it was as bad as now, where it just feels like, okay, there is so much, how does this all connect? That was literally just, hey, Loki came to Earth and for some reason they all got entangled. Now, I think they wanted, maybe that's their idea to do that with the Avengers, and I'm down with that, right? Let's say, okay, it is the Masters of Evil. Barry and Zemo's leading a team and they connect Carol, Sam, whatever, Scott Lang, Thor, whatever the reason is. But it's weird for the team to connect to be Kang, which is, to me, that's where I missed. We've always heard these rumor plots, but that's where I worry that like the Avengers film, Secret Wars, or sorry, Kang Dynasty, was going to be like Infinity War and Endgame, where, okay, it's our Avengers team, but it's really like MCU the movie, right? And I feel like they feel like, well, now the Avengers always has to be MCU the movie. We got to have all these characters. And that's not the case. We should have found something like, and that was the fun of the connected universe stuff. To me, it was not the lore, was not the Easter eggs, was not that. It was like, oh, cool. These characters connect. And all that other stuff is bonus, and it's great, right? It's fantastic. When there was a well-oiled machine, we loved everything. I'll take it all. But at the end of the day, it was the party scene in Age of Ultron where they're getting drunk trying to pick up Thor's hammer. It's shawarma. It's when they're at Avengers Compound Endgame when they fucking lost. And it's like they have all these connections and what do they do? And I lost the kid and where's Pepper? It's 5 years later when Tony Stark says, hey, I don't want to talk shop, but you can stay for dinner. I have my ending here, Cap. I made my second chance. It's like, we're not going to get that with these. And I think they almost felt like because these characters were already in the MCU, well, we don't got to get them together. They can just be, boom, Kang Dynasty, and here's the Avengers. And maybe it will open up and just say, hey, by the way, for the past 5 years, we've been the Avengers. And I guess, but it just feels so empty and hollow, which a lot of things have felt in Phase 5. I pushed back in Phase 4. I had a lot of fun in Phase 4. I probably might say my second favorite phase. It's tough. Revisiting Phase 1 has made me really enjoy some of that stuff again. So it's a toss-up there. Phase 2 is definitely bottom for me. But, Phase 5 is fucking whoa, bottom. So what does that say for these other shows? I think it's like those season 2s are dead. I think lots of development like Vision Quest, they will weigh them in, and I think it will be more a once a year sort of thing. Obviously, Ironheart and Agatha are in the can are in the can. So maybe like you get Agatha, maybe next year you get like Ironheart and Daredevil, and then you get like Wonder Man, right? The animated fare, to me, I'm still fine with that as long as they see enough of a return on investment. It's never gonna blow up unless they make like a Pixar like movie. But for me, it's like that's the stuff where I really enjoy. I know some people, like Brent always like the people that prefer live action to animated. And I'm not saying they have to make the canon stuff animated, but like if you got to save your budget, make stuff like Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, make Marvel Zombies, make, more what ifs, make, just go buck wild and that stuff. Give me a Howard the Duck show, like that's where it's like, you can go back to just maybe doing one show and then a couple movies. And I hope that's what they're going to. So we will see. Let's take probably our last ad break, and then we'll be right back with some trailers and some other movie news, like Fast and Furious and everything. So we'll be right back. And we are back. Let me just take a little sip of water here. Oh, so what was the news I had penciled in here? Both Maddie's questions are in here. It says his thoughts on the Abigail trailer, which we will talk about. And then thoughts on David F. Sandberg directing Until Dawn adaptations. We'll get there. And then Fast 11. So yeah, Until Dawn. So they announced that today. I'm a big fan of that. It's a PlayStation 4 exclusive. It was a game, I can't remember the company, but they make a bunch of choose your own adventure horror stuff. I heard that Camp Summer game they made was fucking like really fun. I never got around to playing it. I have to. I can't even remember what it is. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed Until Dawn. It's a fun choose your own adventure horror game, right? Hayden Panettiere's in it, Rami Malek. I think there's another actor in there, but I enjoy those as well. And they today announced that David F. Sandberg is working on an adaptation of that. So Maddie asked my thoughts. It's interesting because it's like always what we talk about Knights of the Republic, right? Of like there's multiple endings, so what do you do? One, I think it's a good idea because I think they'll make it for cheap. It's a brand name, and even if you pick one of the the story paths, I think the characters, the villain, the mystery, there's enough good stuff there that even if it's like, hey, we're gonna pick path A, sure, make that movie, great, like that. I think I liked Until Dawn. Some of the lots of fun was the choose your own adventure thing, but even just the core content, I think works, so that's good. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. If it's gonna be like Clue, where you get multiple endings. I know for years people have always I think there was some movie that was announced that was gonna do it, and I can't remember if they did it and it just came out to no fanfare, or if they never got around to it. But I thought there was some movie that was gonna try some sort of, you'd be in the theater, you'd have your phones or an iPad or something, and then a decision would come up, you'd all vote, and then whatever the percentage was, you get that. I think that would be cool, because I know some people might be like, oh, your fucking phones at the movie theater. No, that, to me, that's a specific experience for that, right? It's like, that's the time where it's like, yeah, have your phones out or have a tablet out, which will provide you, and to choose your own adventure sort of deal, right? That would be kind of definitely more like a roller coaster sort of ride. I'm sure Martin Scorsese would love that, but do I think that's happening? No, probably just an adaptation. So I guess it will be fun, because it is an adaptation where you could have liked the game and played it many times, and you won't know what they'll go with the story wise, right? They might just look at this and go, hey, this one made the most sense, let's do this route. And yeah, so I'm excited for it. I think they should do more. I think both PlayStation and Xbox should go into their backlog and just let people make movies, TV shows, even if they're cheaper, smaller budgets. Don't just pimp them out and just make anything like public domain. No, still make sure there's some good quality control there. But I feel like they should be taking meetings for all these type of things, right? Because maybe people say, oh, video games, movies are the next boom. Maybe. I love that, because I also like video games. So I'd have no issue if video games, the movies boomed up, right? So Super Mario was the second biggest movie last year, but that's also Mario. So we'll see. Fast 11, it came out this week. There's a rumor going around that it was, it's going to go back to a smaller budget, meaning a $200 million budget. And it said it was going to go back to its roots and maybe focused on one heist, one race sort of scenario. I really don't know what the fuck they're doing. There's a lot going on there, right? I'm somebody that agrees with many people that it has jumped the shark. I think it jumped the shark. I think 9 was the official. I think 8 was close, but I still gave it a pass. But it jumped the shark for me in 9, then 10. To me, and that's where it's there's a point where there's having the over the top fun or the so bad it's good, but it was getting to the point where it's just almost too much, right? It's like a parody of it, and there's a fine line between dumb fun and parody, and I think Fast and Furious was reaching the parody line, unfortunately. But that's the rumor going around right now, that they want to do a smaller one, and I don't know how I feel about that. If it's the last, I guess I get it. You can go back to your roots. But for me, I said this where I did not care for, not that I didn't care for, but I'm not, in this aspect, I'm not a machismo guy, and I like drinking beers, and I like building stuff, and I love getting my hands dirty. I love some yard work. I love cars. Oh, I can name this 20 facts about this car, and I'll look at the rim. No, I don't give a fuck about cars. I don't drive, but I don't there's a few cars in this world that I really enjoy, and it's just by the visual wise, right? So when it was just street racing and babes and like thongs up to the yin yang and everything, and we're being cool and broy and we're all muscly. For me, it's I didn't care about any of that. I got in because The Rock was in there, and then I heard it was more like an action-packed franchise. Because I didn't start watching till Fast 6, and then I caught up. I met Emily. She was a big fan. I thought, oh, yeah, sure, I'll watch these. And then I preferred the golden era for me. What I like is 5 to 7. I think that's the right amount of, there's definitely some over the top, but it's definitely hits the perfect line of character building, enough reality, and then really cheesy fun. And now there's too much of it, and then the past there wasn't enough of it. So for me, it's one of these things where I don't like hearing that. I'd be fine with hey, we want to still make this big, which 200 million is still big, but we want to make this big, but do bring it back to reality a bit. Sure, that works for me. But the idea of going back to the first one, I think we're too far gone. I think for a finale that doesn't make sense. I think that would make sense if you were to end it and then reboot it years later, or it's a continuation of like Dom's son and you do a smaller version, sure. But now, like, the last movie's cliffhanger was them driving off a dam while everything was exploding, and does like Dom make it after this nuclear explosion pretty much, right? And it was so far, there's submarines, spies. I just don't think you can go back really. I guess the comparison you could make to me is Logan, where, X-Men got very big, time travel, saving the world, but then Logan's just a very personal story. You could. I don't trust Vin and the crew to do that. I think you do go out with a banger. You do the best big blockbuster you can with 200 million, maybe cut out some of the cast, maybe smaller roles, maybe they kill it off right away, and you send out the bang, and then you wait. I think you can see by the box office, it's losing its momentum. You can see by just like story, they're spreading thin, and even real life stuff. I don't know about that Vin stuff. That's, you got to wait till if there's a court case and everything. But if any of that becomes true, that becomes a big time hassle, and in a business sense, not good situation to deal with. I just think it's time to put it out to pasture the Fast and Furious franchise. I'm not saying never come back. I'm not even saying spin-offs or elements of that world, because Hobbs and Shaw, I would be fine with to do. Just make sure you keep that budget relatively, proportionate. I just think that it's time, and I maybe that's what they feel like. Okay, it's time to end it. Let's go back to our roots. I just don't know how invested I will really be, because I feel like, unfortunately, with the characters dying and then coming back and some of the logic jumps they've done, I've lost the real care I have for these characters. We talked about this before with even some of the stuff with Jason Statham and them with the Han stuff, and then they brought Han back just so Statham didn't have to appear like a bad guy. Like, there's just so much stuff that I felt like they really lost the characters. And maybe if it was after 7, then sure, but we're not. We got all the stuff we did. So yeah, we'll see. I think it's too late to go back in this sense, but maybe this is just a scuttlebutt report, because it's just Jeff Snyder, and he's not like an A+ guy and stuff. So, yeah, what was I gonna go to next? Oh yeah, trailers. We'll start with what Maddie asked me here for the Abigail trailer. So, yeah, I didn't know about this. Like, I think we found it on like a movie preview it hasn't come out yet. So the movie draft, you can get it for the patrons. Patrons got that early. Lots of other stuff. Patrons, if you get that, you're always getting stuff weeks early, sometimes a year early. It depends what it is. You'll be getting the X-Men retrospective ending early. Lots of good stuff. Excuse me. So we had heard this pitch of a bunch of people kidnap a little girl, and she turns out to be a vampire. And I'm not sure if it's Vampire Dracula's daughter, but that's the pitch, and that's the trailer. This looks like tons of fun. Now, I will say, I'm not trying to be pretentious and be like, well, what is it here? Like, it's cool, but what is, like, how will I be emotionally involved? It was just a little thing of, they pretty much established all these people are bad people. They're kidnapping this little girl to get a bunch of money, right? So the idea is she's Dracula, and she's going to hunt them down, and she's like a vampire daughter, and she's going to hunt them all down and kill them. I think it could be very fun, and that's where I'm curious what's going to happen. I just don't know, like at least it had some sort of trying to be the Meg sort of vibes, had a lot of Ready or Not vibes, which this is radio silence, I guess that's what they're called, and they directed that. But just the color scheme, the jokey, the talking back and forth, this felt like if we're going to do Ready or Not, but from the bad guy's perspective, which is interesting. So I'm not saying, like, I'm not poo-pooing the idea. One of my favorite movies is American Psycho. I'm not saying, oh, you can't have a film about a bad person. But for me, American Psycho, character study. This looks like a kind of a slash, right? A monster movie. So in a sense where all these people are bad, it's almost like the main character should be Abigail, and you could still do all that fucking weird stuff. If they're trying to make it like Megan, they could do all that weird stuff, but we still had a little girl and her adoptive mom, auntie or whatever, as our main characters, and you're rooting for them not to get killed by the doll, right? With this, it's like our main character is Maria Bariso. Oh, I forgot her fucking last name, but the girl from Scream got let go. She's the main character, and seems like she's a criminal, along with a bunch of other great actors: Dan Stevens, Angus McLeod, Catherine Newton. Hopefully, she redeems herself here. Stevens looks fucking great in this. He's always great. One of the most underrated actors out there. But if the main characters are all the bad guys trying to kill a little girl, even if it's a vampire girl, like a slasher, you're kind of rooting for people, right? So that's where it's like, how am I? Is the movie just I'm just sitting around cheering them, like cheering them getting killed? And maybe it is, and maybe that's awesome. I'm not saying that's a wrong thing. It just came to my mind where it's like, that's interesting. But the concept I love. I think it's a cool thing. There's lots of fun imagery. There's lots of like just cool moments. Her dancing with that body that was headless. Her saying she likes to play with her food. I hope that the kills are really good. Like to me, the kills got to really deliver. Be like, oh, or that like that stand up and clap. Like that's my problem with Thanksgiving, where they had some of those kills, but they almost like made them too quick, and it was weird because it was radar. So I feel like with Abigail, they should go full out on this. So I really like the trailer. I think I'll see this in the theaters. I like the Scream movies that they did, barring the third act of Scream 6, because that was a fucking Scream. It was Scream 6. Yeah, that was to me a disaster. So third act, not so much. Ready or Not, I think Ready or Not I probably love more than those two other Scream movies. I'd have to think about that because Scream 5 was quite good. But yeah, interesting concept. So I'll be there to support this one. Looking very forward to it. Just had that curiosity. So next was, what were the two trailers? Spaceman with Adam Sandler. So this is the one where I guess he's on some sort of mission. He's up there for 6 months. He's feeling lonely, getting depressed. And we didn't know this. We had heard Paul Dano's voice. At least I didn't know this. All of a sudden, this big spider comes out. And it's voiced by Paul Dano. And he's just talking about how he wants to help Adam Sandler. And it looks like a very... I'm not going to say Terrence Malick because that's putting something on it, but a very kind of reflective movie. It reminds me of a movie that I like and that kind of inspired Adrenochrome in a way, some aspects where it felt like The Gray, where there is a situation at hand, but there's going to be some flashbacks to the past and what this character is dealing with mentally. And it's this thing of what is real, what's not. I don't know. They show Carey Mulligan. They show her pregnant. I don't know if she's alive. It could be a situation, many where she's alive and pregnant. She's alive and had the kid pregnant. She died and the kid's alive. She was alive and the baby didn't start at the birth. They're both dead. Like I could see something like that. Even the spider says something to the effect of like, you don't even know it's real. This fucking spider could not be real. The visuals were stunning, like it could be stunning. Could also have some bad CGI though, but I meant like some of just the ideas, the colors going on. I like that. We'll see when they're actually fully motion the scene, but I like this. Adam Sandler, I don't know if he's like one of the best dramatic actors, but I think I could make an argument if he did more. Everyone knows I love Uncut Gems. That's my favorite Adam Sandler role. I always shout out Rain Over Me. That's a fucking great movie. He got the goods and he can do that. So I'm looking really forward to this. This is March 1st. I don't know if this is going to be like a Golden Geeks top 10 film, but I'm just expecting a good kind of character journey. This looks like, I like movies that have that vibe of a character alone or just really focusing on a main character, like something like Shameware or American Psycho, where they're not alone, but it's solely focused on them. They're almost in every single scene. And even if it's a little trippy, great. That's a Travis genre. So I think this is one that I could end up, as long as it's not complete dog shit or has a bad third act like Scream 6. This is one that I think is going to be, I'm going to enjoy a lot more than other people, especially even if it's like a slow, melancholy type of vibe. So, and then finally, I had to put this in here because I appreciated it. I popped in the Discord. No one really cared about it, but I'm making you talk about, we're talking about it now because it's my show. This is Me Now, a Love Story. This is some sort of, it's made to be looked like a movie trailer, but then it also looks like there's musical aspects, but then in the trailer it says it's like a movie / cinematic / musical / event experience. And everyone, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to watch this trailer. Even if you're in the Discord, you went by, oh, whatever, watch it. It's J-Lo, and someone described the best way. It's like J-Lo decided to go make Cloud Atlas for a music video. It's we don't know much, but it's like they show a bunch of sci-fi stuff. We don't know if that's their head, if that's the actual plot. We don't know what's going on. It shows that she's a sex addict. They show at one point she gets in a car accident. I think that's the love of her life, Ben Affleck, and he's gonna die in that car accident. And he's in this. It's a big cast. It's like her. Oh shit! Did I still have the trailer up? I don't know if I do. I try to keep it up for the actors, but bunch of names in there. And so it looks like it's going to be, because it said musical, but I think it's going to be like like, I can't remember Michael Jackson had a special like this. Does anyone remember he was in a house that looked kind of creepy, and it'd be like, there's a story, but it would break into like a music video and then back to the story. I think it's going to be that, but just a bit more elevated. Some of the cinematography here look great. Some of the visuals look great. It's going to be on Prime in February. I can't fucking wait. I'm not like a massive J-Lo fan. I like, of course, Jennifer from the Block. My favorite is Let's Get Loud. I like Jennifer Lopez, but I'm not like, oh, Dynasty or music. But this gave me vibes of him where I, as an artist, respected and she stepped up in my books big time was Beyonce when we went to go see the Lemonade tour. And I liked that. I actually really liked that album, but I didn't watch much of the music videos or the visual experience and stuff like that. I was just like, okay, Emily wanted to see it. I bought it for her birthday. We went out to Beyonce, and it was a great time. Really great show. We were in Edmonton. It was cold. It was fucking raining, but it's cool. She sung like Halo all in rain, and it was like, fuck, man, it looked like some movie. But the visual videos they had with the Lemonade tracks, like even as somebody that wanted to be a filmmaker was like, fuck, I want to do shit like this. Like there's like, even in Adrenochome, there was like a portion I wanted to make it, and I was like, oh, I can't. I only took like a sliver of it because it's really heady. I was like, oh, I don't want to do that here. But like there's projects where it's like, I want to have something to akin to what that is. And this doesn't have that same, like, that was more like an A24 raw horrorish vibe. But so this isn't that vibe as far as the same feeling, but I respect the game as far as making new music, a musical, and having this sort of scope or idea around it. It could just be dog shit, but I respect it, and I'll be checking it out. I can't wait. I applaud it. And this just, again, made me appreciate Jay. Like, okay, you're doing something really cool here. Let's see if it works. But as I said, everyone go watch this trailer. It makes it look out to be like a semi-sexual thriller to an action movie to a sci-fi movie. Who knows? But I'm excited to check this thing out. So, yeah, we'll see. But that is it for Travis Told You. Yeah, I think I'll be back for Oscar predictions. I want to do a Royal Rumble one, but I don't know if I can have the time to even do one myself or even do one with the boys, because I even thought about doing one this weekend. I got a fucking mass record where we do a 3. It's just a lot. So I don't know. It might not get to happen, but and I really want to do. I didn't get to talk about up top, but I think for the votes, Oscar season, I think I want to do, like I've talked about this before, where I go, okay, I would say this is the best, one of the best actors today yet. And I'm like, I got to make a list. And even Dylan's like, you should do that. I'd like to hear you like meditate and go through that. I think what I'm going to be doing soon is I think I'm going to make a list of 40 actors, actresses, whatever, and have the patrons vote and decide, and then give me my top 10. I'm going to put the actors, because I still want to go my opinion, who I think is the cream of creme de la creme. But like, and I'm so excited. We get to see Poor Things this weekend. Me, Kirkland, Terry are going to all see it together, finally in Kelowna. And just even a little bit of that stuff with The Curse, that's where I go, hey, I had Florence Pugh #1. I think I might have Emma Stone now there, and that's where it's like, I want to get the hierarchy. But I also, for me, there's like, when I was doing the male actors, it was like 8, 9, 10. I couldn't decide who could get those slots. So I need your help. I need other people. So I think that's going to come, and I think I'll do a whole episode like giving you the brackets, right? So lots of fun stuff coming up. Thank you very much. Welcome to the new year. Travis Told You is back. I'll try to be back as much as I can, and I promise you, it'll not be boring.